I'm Ariana Grande.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Erivo.
And you're listening to the Broadway Podcast Network.
Visit bpn.fm to discover more.
There's a cat over here. There's a cat over there. And the wrong one died. And the wrong one died.
Welcome to The Wrong Cat Died, the podcast breakdown the catastrophe. I'm your host, Mike Abrams, and today we have another amazing guest who is also part of the Broadway Podcast Network. Robert Bannon is the host of a podcast called The Roundtable, which sits down with the best and brightest artists to have an in-depth, fun, and craft-filled chat with Broadway stars, stage, screen, and social media members. Robert also is a Cats fan who I hear has some hot takes, so I'm excited to have him on. So welcome, Robert, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much. I love that. Can you be my writer, editor, copier? That was good. I'm here for that intro. Let's go, Mike.
We'll cut this out and we'll just put that in the beginning of all your episodes.
Thank you. Hired. It's nice to be here.
Love it.
Thanks so much for having me here.
I love talking to other Broadway Podcast Network people because it's fun because I always joked, I know that you kind of joined in on the later set. It's been going on for 5 or 6 years now. I was in the beginning and that was the extreme end of the spectrum of the types of shows they had for the parody. So it's always fun to meet kind of all the different shows that we have. And so we'll get to your show, but this is a Cats podcast. So we got to start with Cats. So I want to hear when you first saw the show, your introduction to it, your fandom of it, why we're here today.
Okay, so listen, I'm from New Jersey, Mike. And so I had access to Broadway. I lived in Fort Lee, New Jersey. I was across the George Washington Bridge, and I had parents who liked theater, and they were cool with me going to theater. And I was a theater kid. I was going to musical theater class, like all good Jersey theater kids at the mall, because that's where you go learn to dance. And Cats was running at the Winter Garden, and my parents had seen Cats on a date before we were grown, right? Before they had children.
Date night at Cats.
Date night at Cats, where groping is, you have to ask for consent, or I think. So, my parents decided that they weren't going to take me to see Cats because they had already seen it, and they weren't going to spend the money. At that time was probably $40, and now it's $500 to go see Cats at the Winter Garden. But I was shifty because it was my parents' 15th wedding anniversary. I was 14 years old, and I had told my aunt, who's my godmother, that my parents really wanted to see Cats, and we should get the family
Surprise them. I love it.
So my aunt said, sure. She got a car service. We booked Tavern on the Green. This is back in 1990. And we were going to take them 96, 90s. And we went to see it and surprise them. My parents did not ask to see Cats. I wanted to see Cats. And I conned my way into the Winter Garden on the back of my parents' wedding anniversary so that I got to experience Cats in person. And I was in awe and floored of the makeup, the costumes, the set, so much so that years later when Cats closed at the Winter Garden, I went to the Broadway Cares flea market and bought pieces of the set. They're in my attic at my dad's house because it was such a moment for me as a kid to hear the music and see it that I fell in love with the music of Cats. I conned my parents, Mike.
I love, all right, there's so many questions. I have so many follow-up questions. Let's start with what was your parents' reaction? Were they angry at you for forcing them to go see it again?
My brother is not a theater person at all. He is a sportsnista. He plays basketball, football. He doesn't do theater, really. He fell asleep at all the great shows of the 90s. Les Mis, King and I, Miss Saigon. Sean slept through every show we went to. So Sean slept. My mom loves it because my mom is just happy to be with her kids and see something and be together. My dad had a good reaction. He enjoyed it. You buy him some peanut M&Ms and you give him a Diet Coke and he's going to sing along. So it ended up being great, but it was definitely shifty, and it was definitely my way of getting in to see the show. I had no money. I had to go see it.
Yeah. So your brother, you didn't get so scared during the beginning, green eyes? He was asleep from the moment it started.
10 minutes in, he might have been up for that, but 10 minutes in, my brother had sleep. My brother, that is literally a joke in my cabaret show, is that my brother slept through the greatest shows of the 90s because he even to this day, he will be like, he did not get this gene. He did not get the theater gene at all.
I have fallen asleep during shows before. I'm more like your brother. I'm now very into the theater world, but before I used to go to a couple after I had played like 3 hockey games in a weekend. And then it's like, we have matinee tickets for Sunday. And my mom was like, you're still going. And so I have fallen asleep through a couple shows from those scenarios where I was like, yeah, I'm still pretty tired. I don't care how great this show is.
But how do you sleep through Cats, Mike? They're literally in the audience back then.
I had never seen Cats until 2016. So I did not sleep. I did not sleep through Cats. I was fascinated, which is why the show started in 2016. But okay, I got more follow-up questions.
Go ahead, sure.
You conjure way in. I love it. 14's kind of a formative age. Did you catch all the sexual nature of like what's happening?
No. And no, I know you have Cat super fans, and I love the Cat super fans, and I love Andrew Lloyd Webber, and I love the people who have been in Cats. I still don't know if I know what the show is really about, but I loved the music, and I loved the look, and I loved the whole story, but I did not get any of the sexual nature.
Okay.
And I don't own a cat. I don't think I'm a cat person, Mike. So, but I like their behavior as an actor. I was fascinated by the way they acted, but I definitely did not catch the sexual nature, nor did I think she died at the end. I think it went right over my head, to be honest.
All of it, yeah.
Yes.
You're just seeing the dancing and, the unitards at that point.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. I love it. Did you walk out being like, I need to be in this show?
Well, I'm not I can't dance, but I remember going to the Tavern on the Green. I remember being in the gift shop. I remember meowing. I remember being obsessed with the idea of the cat. I still can, get into a meow, but I think cats and meowing is funny. So doing it on stage and getting paid for it is hysterical. And funniest interview I've ever done, Mike. I love this. And I remember wanting to sing it. And I remember then going home and being obsessed with memory and listening to the Streisand version and the Manilow version and all of I just saw Il Volo here in Detroit. I'm in Detroit now. And I was in Detroit the other day. I saw the opera group Il Volo, and they do a whole lead up to singing Memory and singing Cat, because that song was so haunting to me. And as someone who loves a ballad and someone who loves a big, giant, sweeping musical number, that was the big takeaway, is that I wanted to sing the song.
Yeah. Have you seen it since, or is it a one-time Cats experience for you?
I saw the Jellicle Ball. I sure did see it, and see, that is a moment in time, people. That is something. As a gay as they come person, I had the best time seeing that show. I love the people that I know in that show and what that show's doing. I hope it comes to Broadway. I know there's rumors of it coming to Broadway. I hope it does. And the movie, regardless of how the theater people feel about the movie, I had an amazing experience at the movie as well.
Okay. We'll come back to the Ballroom Cats, but tell me about the movie experience.
So I went opening night in Times Square. I was in acting class, and I went with my friend Kyle Ball, who was an actor who does not do musicals, but needed to see the movie. And the movie, like the parody of the movie, like the way people felt about the movie and the way that they went into the movie, it became like a sing-along Rocky Horror, like yell back at the screen, meowing, singing, clapping, dancing. I laughed and clapped and cheered and meowed for the whole 2 hours. It was such a fun Friday night in New York City. It was epic. I've not seen it since, but it was a moment that stands in time.
So it's funny you say that, because it's like you went in with the right mindset for it. And I feel like a lot of people's Cats opinions depend on how you go in, either to the stage show or to the movie. Because if you go into the stage show with just go in and take it for what it is and enjoy the dancing and singing, you're gonna have a great time. If you were like me and you walked in thinking like, I'm gonna see this beautiful story, I was pulling my hair out trying to figure out what was going on, but it's what led to me having all these theories and thoughts. But the movie was exactly that. I went to Alan Seals, who's the co-founder of the Broadway Podcast Network, has his own show. We both know, obviously, being part of the network. We went together because this was like what sparked this whole podcast, was the trailer for that movie. And so we went to one of the, not openings, like it was a pre-show. It was like a press viewing a week before it opened. So it was kind of like not the red carpet one, but definitely one where it was all industry people or friends or family. And about halfway through, everyone's laughing. And I'm like, this isn't supposed to be funny. And that was kind of our cue of like, oh, this is going to be a thing. Like this could be, because then I was rooting for it to have the Rocky Horror style show, because then it's like you go in, you have a good time and you walk out with a good time. But that's definitely not, I don't think, their intention. And so we kind of were in that weird middle side of where there was like, all right, this is supposed to be a very easy crowd of people who should be there pro Cats rooting for it, and it still kind of had that reaction.
Yes, but I think we could separate things. I think we could separate the show and at the time, the longest running show on Broadway, and the incredible people that were in it, and how hard it is to dance and sing and wear a leotard and not eat carbs for years and do 8 shows a week. And then I think you can see that the movie, with the star power and the weird CGI and the whole thing that they tried to do with the look of the Cats, didn't necessarily work in the way they wanted. But there's joy in that movie as well, in its own way.
I still think there's a good movie there if you re-edit it. Because there's such incredible dancers and singers. Like, the cast is incredible. It's stacked. You take including the celebrities, but you take like the big name people out. There's like the French twins. There was the ballet dancers. Like, there's so many really incredible dancers that are in the show, and you can't see anything they do because of the way it jumps around and cutting. And I had Sophie Carmen Jones on my show from Moulin Rouge. She's now in Chicago. And she was in the McCavity number there. And I just remember, like, I watched to prep to see, and it jumps around so much that I'm like, I think that was her. I think this was her. Like, whereas she's an unbelievable dancer, and you just don't get to experience enough. So I think if they took all the footage that they shot and just zoomed out a little bit and didn't move the camera angles around so much, you probably have a really cool movie.
You know, and the McCavity song is like my fave because it's a bop. And
amazing.
It's amazing. And I think that that's true. I don't know if the whole roaches in the refrigerator scene works. Can we cut it?
There's some choices. There's definitely some choices there. And we're not going to make it perfect, but I just think we didn't do all these incredible dancers justice on what they were doing. And the choreography is great. It's Andy Blankenbuehler.
Yeah.
Like, it's there. It's just not there for the movie, because you don't get to see it.
Well, because your podcast is really about Grisabella, kind of, sort of. I mean, she is the wrong cat that dies as she flies into the air in a tire or whatever. Can we just talk about, I know this is not my show, and it's hard for me not to be the host, but can I just talk about Jennifer Hudson as this Grisabella moment?
Yeah, let's hear it.
You know, I have to give her credit, because I'm going to get in so much trouble, but I don't care, because I've done shows with other Broadway BPM people where I talk bad about Ben Platt and all sorts of stuff. So I don't care, Broadway people. You can come for me. You could DM me. You could be mad at me. It's okay. You know, she's a very great singer. All right. She's an amazing once-in-a-lifetime singer. Sometimes she's not always the greatest actor. And she gave snot and face and literally tears and sweat. And sometimes I think it's just too much, Mike. And I waited for this whole moment. I wanted this big, giant moment. And she's singing, but I just felt it made me sad. Where are the other famous Grisabellas? Where's Betty Buckley? Where is the nuance of it? Because Jennifer just sings her face off and can just sing. And they kept the snot in. They kept the snot in, Mike.
Just close your eyes and listen.
Okay, that's what I should have done. That's a better idea.
I've only seen it with that viewing with Alan, and then during COVID, my parents, we were like, it ended up on Netflix or ended up on one of those streaming services, and you're at the point where you've watched everything, and so I was like, all right, do you want to watch this? And they were like, yeah, we'll start it, and then about halfway through they go, does it get better? And I'm like, it's pretty much this level the whole way through, and they both were like, I'm good, and they turned it off and went and left.
Oh.
So I didn't even get to Grisabella's part at that viewing.
Are you a Swiftie?
I mean, I don't understand people who hate her. Like, I like her music. I didn't go to the Eras tour. I wasn't spending that kind of money. So I'm like, I wouldn't say I'm diehard Swiftie, but like, yeah, I mean, of course, she's incredible.
She's incredible, and I think she could do anything, and I think she's amazing, and I love her too. I would love to see her do more things like a musical movie or stretch her. Like, I was here for it.
I made a meme. We were talking about this before we started recording, but I made a meme about how she did 100 and something Eras tours and didn't once sing McCavity.
Do you think
I was waiting for it?
Do you think she's like tries to hide that part of her career?
I don't think she hides it, but I do think a lot of people stepped away from, like, they'll acknowledge it, because I did have somebody on the show who went in full cat to the Eras tour in New York, and like, it went viral on TikTok but she acknowledged it. It's not like she was like ashamed. Like, she made a little cat meow kind of towards him, like with a claw. And so I don't think she's gonna avoid it, but I don't think she's gonna proactively be talking about it.
Okay, if she goes on tour again in the next few years, Mike, I would like to go with you in full cat.
In full cat, I'll call the guy back who went. We'll all go in full cat. We just gotta get tickets. We gotta get tickets.
I'm in.
Okay, now let's talk about the Ballroom Cats.
Yes,
because you came back for that incredible experience. I did a ton of episodes with them. They've been like the best people to work with, and also a different show that kind of got a lot of Cats haters to like Cats because of the storytelling. So, what was your experience there?
I have had interviews with people like Antoine Hopper and Jonathan Burke, and I've known them for years in New York and in theater scenes and stuff like that. And I was very excited about it. I mean, Andre DeShields, which you got an interview with, he doesn't say yes. He doesn't say yes to me, but he says yes to you.
That took a lot of work, a lot of time to get that one on camera.
I believe that for sure. And I went in thinking like, I love ballroom. Ballroom has become a thing, especially in the gay community, as it always has been. But after Pose and after all of the stuff that has been going on about how they're going to do it, and I thought at the least you'll hear the music and you'll get to see some fun dancing, and a creative new take. But I love that Andrew Lloyd Webber was open enough to doing it, because he could take something that is, one of his jewels in his crown and made him a lot of money and give the liberty to open it up. But I like the idea of the storytelling. I think in the context of a contest and in a ballroom scene, I think it adds a different layer that it didn't always get in the junkyard of the Cats musical, etc. So, and this cast is so freaking talented and amazing.
So good.
My knees hurt so bad just watching them. They're so good.
They were all so good. I love that they infused ballroom people and theater people and like really kind of brought those two worlds together. And you're exactly right. One of the biggest things when I heard about it was I was actually surprised that Andrew Lloyd Webber was kind of willing to let such a creative take happen, and kudos to him for seeing it for what it was and seeing it to be, I mean, it sold out like within minutes. For 2 extensions, and I mean, maybe I think 3 extensions, and hopefully has a future life. But it's a different show in the same show all at once. And so it is cool to see him kind of, I don't know if I would say take that risk, but at least allow the evolution of something that has been so well known, is really cool and awesome to see for him as someone, again, who's a legend in his own right.
Yeah, he could take it very seriously and not let people touch his stuff and want it to be done in the way that he had originated it. But I also think in terms of Broadway history, it was at a moment where he had Bad Cinderella just was off Broadway. His show, The Phantom, was closing. He didn't have something that was running on Broadway per se at that moment. So I think for him, it was time, he's open to reinvention. And I think that's what makes great artists, is that they're going to take something from the time in the 80s when they did it, and then they're going to switch it and flip it and make it modern. And I think that's what they did, and they did it brilliantly. So I'm here for it.
I will say I love Bad Cinderella, though.
I had Savvy Jackson on my show the other day, and I was talking to her about it, and I love Bad Cinderella too, and I loved the music, and I think it was fun. I think we all need to like chill out and have some fun.
It was, if you went in with the right mindset, same thing as we've been talking about, it was entertaining.
Yes.
And it had an incredible cast, again, really, really talented people. It's some wild songs. Like, some of those songs are horny. Like, some of those songs are straight up like odd.
Well, she's Bad Cinderella. She's,
Oh, no, I think there's a whole song that's about the mom doing a whole song about the other prince, like the other son.
Yes.
Like, that song's a lot.
The show was a lot. And I think that people go in thinking something different, and sometimes we need to be open. Your whole idea of your podcast, I mean, is there's a joke in the title. There's fun in every episode that you get to do where we get to talk about the show. And I think we all need to be a little bit more open to different types of art, and we don't have to take art so seriously all the time. Can we just have some fun?
I agree. It was entertaining. I never walked out of that show angry that I spent time at that show.
No.
And so I think that's what I hope, like, and I have felt that way at certain theaters where I'm like, that wasn't for me, but maybe it was for other people. And so that's why I don't understand. There's a lot of people that trash it. They trash art, like musicals and art in general. And I'm like, no, it just wasn't for you. Someone else might love it.
But I want people who trash musicals to try to dance, sing, and act at the same time. And
totally.
It's not as easy as it is.
So it's very rare that anybody, that at least that for me, I walk out of every, especially musical, sitting there going like, I might not have loved the story, or I might not have loved like some of the way that they put it together, or some of the artistic choices. But every time I'm like, you know what? Those performers, like, that's a feat to do that 8 times a week too. Like, I can't even imagine. And Cats is an extreme version of that. Like the dancing that they're forced to do, they're never off stage. They get a break during Mungo, Jerry, and Rumple Teaser and intermission, and that's about it.
Right, and not everyone gets a break of the original show on intermission.
Yeah.
That was my favorite part as a kid, getting to walk up on the Winter Garden and just be staring. And I interviewed Ken Page, and you've interviewed a lot of Cats people, and it's always fun to talk about. I saw you had Liz Calloway on not too long ago. Like when you hear their stories and you talk to them about their experience, it's definitely something that is monumental in everyone's career that makes it to be in the show is something that they remember for sure.
We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back for more of The Wrong Cat Died.
All right, let's talk. You mentioned some of the people you interviewed. Let's talk about your show.
Okay.
So I know your show started on YouTube, right? So
yes.
It was a YouTube show. And tell me about how it kind of came to life and where it is today.
It started over COVID. I was putting out music. I have music out that's available wherever people want to be put to sleep or bored. No, I'm kidding. It's a very jazzy and Broadway-esque, and you could listen to it wherever music is heard. And we were putting out an album, and the little boutique label president at that time was like, "Hey, everyone's putting on shows on YouTube or doing podcasts during COVID. And it would be a good way to promote the music of my artists." So we had Jessica Vosk on. I was in my basement. I didn't know what I was doing. And that turned into a year's worth of shows every Thursday. And then that turned into something called the Broadway Cast Reunion Series, which it became a business that I never dreamed of, that we were going to reunite Broadway casts and sell them to touring houses around the country to engage Broadway people. And we just didn't think that this was a thing, but it became a thing. And then it ended. And I just remember talking to a friend, Robbie Roselle, who is a cabaret singer and a director and stuff. And he said, "Why don't you keep doing the show?" And I said, "Nobody will come on. I don't know anybody." And the show has lived on, and then it became a part of BPN, which was super exciting. And I love being a part of BPN. And now it's on Fridays. There's an exclusive chat on Broadway World, a homepage every Friday as well. So it's just kind of grown. But the part that's weird about my show, Mike, is that it's not only way. So it's all sorts of artists. So, we have like some NGL Choppa 18 million follower rapper on next week. We could have Sherry Shepherd on. We could have, Lunel the comedian. And then we have, I don't know, your next Broadway Nista on as well. So like we ran the gamut of all sorts of guests. And I just call it, it's a place where artists talk about art and we have fun and chat.
That's awesome. And so you started on YouTube, and you were not part of the Broadway Podcast Network because again, so wide. And then let's hear, how did you get involved with the BPN?
People started, I see people online talking about their podcasts, and I just thought, I don't know anything about I don't know anything about a podcast. I don't know anything about a microphone. I don't know anything about a light. I don't know how to make a YouTube video. I never knew how to use iMovie. I didn't work at Google, Mike. I don't know anything. I'm lucky I know how to use my iPhone. So, and then when the idea came that I had all this content, and it's like, it becomes the problem to me is like, how do you get the audience? I know there's an audience out there that may want to hear this, and how do I get to them? And I know that the platform opened, and I know that we started doing red carpets. When I'd asked to interview a person on Broadway, they were like, "We can't get them to do a virtual interview because they're in rehearsal, but would you come to opening?" And I would stand next to people that are on VPN, and I would be like, "I think I have a show that could be on podcasts." So I cold emailed Alan Seals. Like I just sent an email like, "Hi, I'm Robert. I have a show." At that point I had a lot of episodes, and I was like, and I don't know where to put them, and they're already done, and I have a logo.
And you have like 400 plus, right? At this point.
We have 440 something on BPN, and then that we were going to put an old episode up a week, but we don't have an old episode a week. So there's more even on YouTube. And I think we've reached over 1,000 interviews.
Wow.
And I've only started, it'll be 2 years in September, but it's only March. So to have 440 episodes in a year and a half, it's a daily podcast. It's about 15, 20 minutes of your day every day.
Yeah. And you mentioned a couple Cats people, but who are the Cats people you've interviewed?
We did have Liz. We have had Liz on. We did have Ken Page. Ken Page was before we were a podcast. It was during Quarantine Cabaret and Cocktails. And it was that was the show that we had during the quarantine. And it was one of my favorite shows ever because it was ridiculous. And if you deep dive the internet, you could see it because it's Ken Page. It is Denise Williams who sang like "Let's Hear It for the Boys" in the 80s, like a R&B singer. And the men of Las Vegas Chippendales in no shirt. So it's Ken Page, Men in No Shirt, and Denise Williams for an hour. And that is worth the price of a free YouTube video. If you want to hate watch something, that is something to watch.
What a group. What a grouping.
You know, COVID made booking guests so easy because no one had anywhere to go.
Everyone was home. Yeah, everyone was home and free.
No one had anywhere to go. Who else have I had on my show? Who have you had? Antoine, and a lot of the Jellicle people as well. Like Antoine's been on a few times. Jonathan Burke has been on a few times. And there's got to be more. I should have done research. And that's another thing about my show. You have notes. You have like a lot of comments and written things. I have notes too, but a lot of it is we just roll with the punches.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you the project that I'm playing with right now, that is very infancy. So we'll see if it actually makes it onto like social media or anything later. But Alan, as you know, is a tech guy. I mean,
yes.
Alan is a tech guy. I am a marketing person. So I work in marketing for my full-time job, but I do have to dabble with tech just at the company I work for. And we have a AI system that allows you to feed it sources, and then it can kind of be its own language model. And so I have been tinkering with, because every episode I've done, I have a transcription, just because that's the way the editing service works, is it transcribes it anyways. And so I have been able to feed it the transcriptions of all of my episodes and can now ask it questions. And so I have been playing around with that. When you talk about, because it's the same thing, it's like, it's daunting. I've talked to 200 plus people who have done the show, and I'm like, yeah, who said that theory? Like, this was a great theory. I remember it came from an old Deuteronomy, but I couldn't remember which one. And so I now can go back and have like to the moment that they said it, and also ask it for all my theories from old Deuteronomy or all my theories here. So I've been playing with that this past like couple weeks. And
I need that. Can we make that happen?
I'd
pay you for it.
I can show you what I did. It's definitely time consuming and tedious. Like, we need interns. I need some interns to help work on this stuff for us.
That's amazing.
It's a cool platform.
Are you trying to get rid of the host? You're trying to AI my job.
Well, I sent it to Alan, because I sent him my first, like, just kind of the quick things. I texted him being like, hey, look, this is what it spit out. And then he goes, yeah, you can do that in a podcast. I'm like, I'm aware, but like, I don't need to ask it questions. Like, I can type it. I don't need to like talk to AI podcasters asking it questions about my own podcast.
For sure. I get that. Well, I've had Alan on my show. Alan has done my show, and I've done red carpets with Alan, and Alan is very techie. He knows how to do lots of things that I don't know how to do on the red carpet, and he's very fun. He's an interesting, I call him my boss on the red carpet, but he doesn't necessarily love that idea, but he is the man of the Broadway Podcast Network, and I'm very proud of him for what he's done with the BPN and all the people he's recruited to be a part of it. But what I love most about him is he's really funny, and he gets the vibe that it's serious, but it's not. Like, we're here to have a good time. Theater is fun. Art and entertainment is fun, and podcasts can be fun too. So like, I love being a part of the family that's here at BPM. Yeah.
My whole tech setup is because of him. He basically told me exactly what to do. So he is, I call him podcast dad.
That's good.
Because that's what it feels like. And yeah, I mean, he's founded this, and he is hilarious. He's the one that made the joke. Like, he took my joke and turned it in. He named The Wrong Cat Died. Like, that was his name. He came up with the title, and that was kind of like us brainstorming and spitballing is how this started, was because of our friendship. And so super fun.
Just for I don't know if you asked this question, but are you going to ask me if I think the wrong cat died?
Oh yeah, it's coming.
Okay,
It's my last question.
Okay, thank you, because I have an answer. I thought about it all night.
Okay, well then let's get to it. I want to do my cat's rapid fire for you then, and this will get to that last question. Okay. That's always my final question. Because if you say Grisabella, I'm going to debate with you. So that's why it's the end. Okay, then we're going to have some conversations then. Okay, so if you could be in Cats one night, which cat do you want to go on as?
I'm going to go on. I'm going to be Rum Tum Tigger. Well, how do you say it? Tugger.
Rum Tum Tugger.
That's my role.
Rum Tum Tugger. You're going to go out there and just wreak havoc.
I'm going to wreak havoc and twirl and spin and spin and twirl. And I think that's a fun part. What is your answer?
I can't sing, dance, or anything. So I have my joke is I think that this becomes, as I've done so many of these, it's almost like a philosophical question, and like it becomes a little bit of like a personality assessment, because there's only two ways people really answer this. It's either this is your personality, and so it's like, this is me and I want to be me and do that on stage, or it's the extreme opposite of your personality. And it's like, I want to go act and just do something that's totally out of character for me. And so I think both of those are kind of fun. So that's where it's like the totally out of character for me is Tugger. I'm much more of a quiet, calm Midwesterner. And so like Tugger would be like me embracing just being chaos. I think the one that like jokingly is Grisabella would be pretty fun. You're only on stage for 15 minutes. You don't really dance that much. And you get to sing and belt the one like master song that everyone knows. And if I could sing at Grisabella's like the way she sings, I would definitely be out there doing it at every karaoke moment I could.
That's fair. I thought about it. I didn't want to.
I love it.
I mean, I can't dance like Jason Derulo, and I don't have that body either. So I don't know that, but I'm going to give it a go.
Who are your favorite and least favorite cats, like character-wise?
Interesting question. So even though I picked Tugger, I'm going to say it wrong, and y'all are going to come for me, and that's fine. I as my favorite character, I have to say it is Grisabella because I even though she's got that little part and all of that, I love this. I love the song, and I don't care if you don't like the song, people out here. I don't care if you hear it's overdone and overplayed, and that is a masterpiece of a song.
Memories is an incredible song.
That is a masterpiece, everyone. That is a masterpiece.
What about least favorite? Do you dislike any of them?
Do I dislike anyone? Don't be mad. The Mr. Mistopheles part in the show and the song in the show and everything is very fun, but you're going to try to get me in trouble.
If you're doing it from a plot perspective,
it's not there.
Mistopheles is so important because they bring back old Deuteronomy.
Oh, that's fair. But do you like him as a character? Like, do you go to bed at night thinking about how amazing that part is?
I think that the song's fun. I do find the song fun.
True.
And I think that the dance number is incredible. And it's another one that I couldn't do. Like those twirls and the spins and stuff. I'm like, I couldn't do any of that. So I do think. I also have done a couple episodes with Jacob Brent, who was in the 1998 movie, and he's the best. And so I'm like, all right, fine. We got to defend his character a little bit.
All right, we could defend. What about the old? Like, what about him having to stand there at intermission in the 80s and 90s and 2000s?
That is a wild choice to me. I was shocked that they did that in 2016 or they did in 2016. They did it in the tour that I saw most recently. It's crazy to me that they make that character sit on stage for the whole intermission and then kind of go right in and start singing again.
What answer do people usually give? Bustopher Jones? Like, what are people saying?
Bustopher Jones gets a lot of hate, honestly. It's usually somebody where, especially people who performed, it's where the character personality would bug you. So like some of them will say Tugger because it's like he's a lot. Some will say McCavity because he's kind of the bad guy. Bustopher gets some hate. But it's usually that like someone just said Jenny Anydots recently. They're like, all right, she's a great person.
Because I am a lot. I give a lot.
What's your favorite song from the show?
Oh, hands down, Memory. But if I had to pick a second one, if I pick Mr. Mistopheles, even though I just killed him off in my show, I like the song because when I went to see it opening night, the repetition of singing that, I don't know if you curse on your show, but that effing song 576,000 times in a circle. It's like 99 bottles of beer on the wall. The audience it slowly crept to, by the end of it, everyone was just singing this damn song over and over and over again. That it now sticks in my head. But Memories is the quintessential Cats song. The opening of Cats, the overture of Cats.
The overture is incredible.
The commercial, being in New Jersey, it ran every second for 40,000 years. So that's just epically there. It's a part of the American pop culture landscape forever.
I couldn't agree more. I love McCavity at this point. And then to your point of Mistopheles, Mungo Jerry and Rumpelteazer those are the only two names I remembered when I walked out the first time because they just say it over and over and over and over again in their songs. And then I also realized recently, I probably realized this about a year ago, but when I saw the show again, I think the reason I remember their characters is because that's the only moment in the show where they're the only two on stage. And as someone who like is overstimulated watching the show in general, I was like, there's too many cats going on. I didn't know where to look. But finally, I'm like, I can focus on just these two. And so it's like, I probably remember them because of that in itself. Is that like my brain could comprehend just two of them dancing.
I get that. It's a moment. It's a quiet moment and a not quiet moment show.
I asked one fun one before we get to the important one. So which cat do you think would con their parents into going to see a show?
Well, I picked him. I mean, it's going to be Tugger. I mean, Tugger is slick and shady and And I love a little slick and shady. And that's a funny question. See, that's why he's good, people. You need to watch all 2,000 episodes that he's done. Or listen to, I should say. I think he's the con man. He's perfect.
It's him and McCavity.
He's
McCavity's
sly.
the other one.
And he
I
has
like
six
it.
pack. And I don't have that, but I want to. So I'm living vicariously through the six pack of Jason Derulo.
All
Don't
right.
you want Jason Derulo in the movie to just say it be like Jason Derulo?
I was waiting
Come
for
on.
it. I thought the minute they cast him, I was like, you got to throw it in there, or just sing the Tugger that way, like in that same way.
Tugger, come on, where is
I was waiting for it. Okay, let's get into the debate.
She's supposed to die, Mike.
Okay, why? Give me the why.
She's old. She's tired. You know what cats' lives are like? Have you ever heard two cats behind a garage fighting or sleeping together? Or you know what that life is like? You're begging for milk and you're out here in the street and you got to eat cat food. You ever smelled cat food? It's disgusting. And they're out here in the cold. They don't have a home. They're not the aristocrat cats. They're not, the cats in the Disney movie. These are alley cats. How long do you want this woman to live? She remembers her life. She is tired. She's done with these. And you see these cats? They're sexual and dirty. They don't ask for consent. They lick each other. They smell each other. She is tired of this nonsense. She wants to go to heaven.
I like the passion.
Thank you.
So let me ask some questions.
Sure. I'm not going to have good answers.
To bring this debate around a little bit here. First question is, what do you think the Heaviside Layer is? Like, where is she going? Are they murdering her? Is she coming back?
No, I don't think she's coming. In coming back and I think she's dead. I think she's done.
This is it.
Yes.
Okay.
What else is there for her to do? She sang the song at the end of the first act.
So here's my question though. If we're gonna believe the story is that she was shunned from her family, the Jellicles are her family. She was the star in the making, goes off and does something, clearly angers her family so much so that they're not letting her back and they're all mad at her. And then she sings Memory and they finally all embrace her. Why can't she live one more year with her family that finally just reaccepted her and go next year?
Because I think that's the bittersweet nature of the story. Like she's got it's a redemption story, but with a sad ending, kinda.
So it's a redemption story, but instead of redeeming and having this family, it's like, no, now we're going to kill her?
But do you want her at the end to just be happy? And firstly, T.S. Eliot's not here to speak about this. And Andrew Lloyd Webber, I mean, unless you have his email address, he's not going to email me. Well, I just think that at the end, there's just something about she's going ascending to the end. Like this is, you ever read The Alchemist, if you're into nerdy self-help books? Mm-hmm. Her quest is over. She's done. What do you want from her?
I want Gus to go. I want her to spend one more year with her family.
Okay.
I want her to be welcomed back. The redemption story is still the same. She still has all the redemption. The family embraces her. She's ready to go. Like, go to a birthday party. Have one more Christmas. Like embrace that moment and then go next year. And then you can live happily ever after.
But you ever hear people who say when they have a relative that's sick and dying and they wait for the whole family to come around and see them and then they're like, okay, I saw everyone, I'm done. Maybe she felt like once she made peace with them and they kind of murder her, allegedly, that she was good to go.
See, but it's interesting because I think this all depends on how you debate the Heaviside Layer and what they're doing. Because it's like they're going to sacrifice a cat. So it's not like she's sitting on her deathbed with the family coming around and it's like, okay, I can now let go. It's like, no, old Deuteronomy is going to murder her.
But if you're going to sacrifice a cat, if you're going to sacrifice somebody, this sounds very weird. Like I'm in the Illuminati and I'm going to sacrifice somebody to be Jay-Z. I don't know. But we're going to sacrifice somebody, or you're not going to pick the young, hot and poppin' cat. You're not going to pick the young, new cat on the street. You're not going to you're going to pick the old, dusty cat who's already thinking about death.
Gus.
That's who you want to die?
Yeah, Gus. Gus should go.
Well, what do you have against Gus?
Nothing. It's his time. It's the same argument. It's his time. He's old. He's dusty. He doesn't have a lot to live for. If you watch the 1998 movie,
okay,
it's I think it's Sir Patrick Mills. He has cerebral palsy. He's basically on his actual deathbed up there performing. I'm amazed that they got this guy to do this performance because he was unhealthy and old. And you can see it. He looks like he's struggling on stage. He was 90 when they filmed that movie. And so you can feel that moment. I felt that moment going, this guy's not going to make it. And I feel that way about Gus.
But why do you got to kill the old? I know.
That's your argument. Exact argument you just made.
Gus is going to go in a natural way. He's already paid his dues. He's old. He's tired. His name is Asparagus. I'm confused. Just why are you going to kill him?
Because he needs to go.
Because
he needs
he's
to be
old.
reborn. Yeah.
So your whole point of this podcast is that Grisabella shouldn't die because she's old. So your response is to kill the other old one?
Well, you want to know what my original joke was?
Okay, I want to know.
This is how this joke actually started. Is when I saw 2016 Cats, I saw Leona Lewis, and I walked out thinking I saw the X Factor on drugs. And so my original thought was, this is a competition, a singing competition. Forget the death, forget the like old or the storytelling, or whatever. It's a produced show where you got everybody that goes up and sings their song, and then America votes or Britain votes at the end, and that's it. And so the X Factor is known, really, in my opinion, for doing what, which is taking solo acts and making them very, very popular groups.
In groups.
So I want to send Tugger and Mistopheles, who have this weird sexual energy together, up to the Heaviside Layer together as a new boy band.
See, that's a good idea. Firstly, I'm obsessed that you saw Leona Lewis do this. And what happened to Leona Lewis? And then secondly, I think that the boy band Cats is a thing. There's the boy band project, there's the girl band project, there's all these 90s shows. The NSYNC, the gay NSYNCer, what's his name? Lance Bass is out touring with them, Chris Kirkpatrick. We could
Joey Fatone's in Anne Juliet right now.
Joey Fatone is in Anne Juliet. We could get a Cats band.
So that was my original idea, and but that doesn't fit if you take the story at what the story is. But if you do it as an X Factor, I want to send the two of them together.
But I think the idea of it being a singing a competition is how I took it as a kid. Like I thought it was very competition-esque. Like they're trying to compete. We're all going to do a song to show like we are the superior cat.
And that's why Ballroom Cats, the PAC Cats, work so well, because that competition element was so evident to me.
Yes,
seeing it the first time, and they embraced that in such a cool way.
So we've all agreed that my answer is correct.
I mean, right now, the public voting is still slightly in favor of Grisabella.
Yes.
Based on every guest I've had. But she's not over 50%. She's less than half the votes.
Did you ask Liz Calloway who she voted for?
I did.
I'm going to say Liz Calloway's going to say Grisabella dies. I'm just putting it out there.
Do you want to know what Liz Calloway says? Am I going to spoil this for everyone that's listening?
No, listen, people, it's a spoiler alert. If you don't want to know what Liz Calloway says, why haven't you listened to it? It's an old episode and you should have heard it already.
Liz does defend Grisabella, but I don't think I've met almost any Grisabellas that don't defend Grisabella, because they spend so much time having to embrace their own story. So it makes sense. Now, some of the other, I had Pepe Munoz on recently from Moulin Rouge. He's done like 9 productions or something. He picks Gus. So Gus is, here, I can tell you the exact numbers. I've got this all tracked for us here. Right now, Grisabella holds 42% of the vote. Gus holds 35% of the vote. And then everyone else has got a couple votes here and there.
You're all ageist. We're all ageist. I'm ageist. We're all ageist. We all killed the 2 old cats. And
2 old cats, yeah.
Gus, I forgot about Ian McKellen in the movie.
Yeah.
I might have killed him in the movie. But I'm not killing. No, we're killing Grisabella.
You're sticking with your vote. I'm not changing your vote. I'm not going to. My goal is not to change the mind of everybody, but my goal is to make people think about it. And then one day I want one regional production to just send a different cat up one time.
I'll do it.
That's what I'm looking for.
I'll get sued and everything for you.
I'm trying. I'm talking to 3 different regional productions right now happening in the U.S. And so far I'm 0 for 2 in getting them to change it. But we're going to do some cool things, hopefully, with both of them.
That's amazing. I would love that next chapter. I got to come see your cats.
The other thing is it's on Royal Caribbean Cruise, the Oasis of the Seas. It's like their 16th or 17th year doing it. And I'm like, we could do it there. No one would even notice.
Right. Exactly. That's a good one night. Just let Mike have let Gus die.
Let Gus. Let's go. Same show. Just instead, after she finishes Memory, she, instead of walks down the line, she just gets in line with the family. They give her a hug and then they send Gus up.
And then Gus just has a heart attack on the floor?
No, he goes up to the tire. The only change, I've thought about this a lot. The only change you actually have to make is one is Gus needs to be able to do the tire, whatever mechanic of being strapped in so it's safe. And then after, they sing one more song, and it's a big song where it's Old Deuteronomy and the ensemble and everybody else singing. So Grisabella would have to take Gus's spot.
Okay, you can make that happen.
That's it. There's no other change.
You can make that happen.
Totally. Until a cease and desist comes from Andrew Lloyd Webber and the Real Useful Group. But
well, that's what I was going to say. That's definitely going to happen. I did a production of The Music Man in Sharon, Connecticut with a lot of people who went on to be pretty Broadway people back in the day, and they decided to modernize the Music Man and give it cut songs and add different orchestrations, and they gave everyone cell phones and Amazon packages except the Wells Fargo wagon, and then they decided to make Shapoopy a karaoke number with a disco ball. But no one asked permission to do any of this, and after opening night, we got a cease and desist letter and had to change the whole entire show. So be careful.
The only thing, though, we talked about this. He's clearly open to change because of Ballroom Cats.
He is.
So I think there's a chance. I don't know.
I'm here for it.
I just want one night. I'm not asking to do it for like a full year or even a full production. Just one night.
One night. Oh, I say for one night, let Grisabella live.
Or if you really want to cause chaos, though, the really fun thing would let actually it be a vote. Let Old Deuteronomy choose each night depending on how either the actors perform or audience screaming. And I know that they did that. There was a regional production. They got in trouble for doing this. So it's been written about and on record. But they did that for a chorus line and they got in trouble. And so there's a little fear to do that again.
They could get away with it in Ballroom Cats because, you know, with the cheering, the number, like the holding the, I like it. Okay, you make a good argument. I mean, you are the expert.
I'm just here to make people think about it.
But I want Grisabella dead.
Okay.
That's my vote.
I'll mark your vote for
Thank
Grisabella. How can people stay in touch with your show, YouTube, everything?
Sure. You can follow me at Robert M. Bannon on Instagram, and you can check me out on the Broadway Podcast Network or go to YouTube, like, comment, share, and subscribe. We're live. We do a live show every Thursday where I tell you things you don't want to know about me, like my life and my shameless plug segment. And we talk about Week in Review. And I moved to Detroit 7 months ago to get married to my husband. So I talk about learning Detroit every week. It's a ridiculous, messy show live on Thursday nights on YouTube and then every day here on the Broadway Podcast Network.
I love it. We'll link everything too so people can find it. And this has been so fun. I'm hoping that one day I can be a guest on your show.
Thanks so much. I appreciate you and congrats on all that you've done. It's so much fun. This is a great show.
Amazing. Well, thank you, and thanks everyone else for listening to this episode of The Wrong Cat Died, the podcast breaking all the cast history. To follow along, you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any other podcast. Follow us on social media at The Wrong Cat Died, or check out our website, TheWrongCatDied.com.